Hello, is anybody out there? This is just a test. See how it works. You can say hello in the chat. You can ask me any questions in the chat. What are you reading? Okay, there's no one watching. I got 2 likes. Okay. Okay, tell me more. Paranormal book for young adults or paranormal book for a general audience? Yes, so I'm currently reading Adventures in Space. This is new short stories in science fiction in Chinese and English. Okay, it's about witches aimed at adults. It's fun so far. Okay. Can't remember the last book I read about witches, but I read quite a lot of fantasy. I remember Macbeth, the 3 witches there. Part of a series. Okay. So you're available for beta readings for new authors if they wish to avail themselves of your services. What was your favourite book of last year? Manuscript critiques. A very useful service for up-and-coming authors to have someone look at their manuscripts to see how they can improve it. I've never done any beta reading. The Alchemy of Sorrow. Who wrote that? My favorite book last year. Hi, William Library. Welcome to my live stream. I'm just experimenting here. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat, or you can just watch how I get on. Yeah, an anthology of short stories. Yes. This I'm reading at the moment is an anthology of short stories, but in the science fiction realms, and it's a mix of Chinese and English writers. I've read the first. Well, I'm reading the second one. The first one was by an English writer. The one I'm reading now is by a Chinese writer, Chen Ziyun, about somebody who's had an accident near Jupiter, and on Earth they're trying to work out how they can send out a rescue mission. NP Hunt. Hi. This is my Elizabeth. Hello. Welcome to the party. I'm trying out live streams to see how this is. I've been reading Dangerous Liaisons as well, which Elizabeth of Bouquin Books in the chat has been leading. I'm on letter 23. It's an interesting book written in the 18th century, which is outside my comfort zone. I don't usually read books before 1800. Yes. Dangerous Liaison, from what I understand so far, it's about this game played by these two libertines, and it's an epistolary novel. You read it through letters, and these two libertines are quite naughty, I would say. What are you reading? N.P. Hunt and Williams Library? Hi, Greg. Welcome to my experimental live stream. I didn't have a video to go out today, so I thought I'd try a live stream to see how it worked, see if anybody would show up. And please feel free to ask any questions related to books or reading. You're reading at the moment. How's the weather in Georgia? It's not book related. We had some snow today. It hasn't settled, but it's the first I've seen of snow this year. Wittgenstein's nephew, Thomas Bernhard, last night. Was that philosophical? The Empire of Lies by Raymond Corey. LA Confidential. I saw the film of LA Confidential. It was a good film. I haven't read the book. Yes, I'm reading Adventures in Space, a science fiction anthology, Dangerous Liaisons. I'm also reading Fluent Forever, about how to learn languages, because I want to learn Georgian. and my previous attempts to learn Georgian have failed. Are you enjoying the books you're reading? Can you get reading done during Christmas time? Christmas here was on the 6th. We've just had Christmas, the Orthodox Christmas. It can be tricky with all the other occasions and festivities going on. But I've read one book so far this year. That was The Poppy War, fantasy inspired by the Sino-Japanese War. It was very intense. There was lots of violence, lots of genocide. And the writer R.F. Kuang was just 21 when she wrote it. It's quite an achievement. I see her current book, Babel, is getting a lot of talk on BookTube, but I haven't got to that one yet. Okay, you're enjoying The Empire of Lies, Raymond Corey. What genre is that, The Empire of Lies? Is that historical fiction? Is it fantasy? I'm not familiar with the title. I'm glad you're enjoying it. What plans do you have for the new year? My resolution as ever is to learn Georgian. I've been living here 13 years and my Georgian is still very rudimentary. I can speak French, but French and English are much closer together. Elmore Leonard, Unknown Man, number 89. Yes, Elmore Leonard's a good crime writer. Alternate history fantasy. Which empire is it the alternate history of? Is it the British Empire, the French Empire, or the Russian Empire, or another empire? A lot of empires are built on untruths. Yes. Has anybody set a Goodreads target this year? Last year I read 79 books and I've set the target this year as 100, which I think is maybe too ambitious, but we shall see. Can everybody see me and hear me okay? As I said, this is quite an experiment, just trying out a live stream. The Ottoman Empire. Yes, I have a few books about Turkey. Here's got one, Istanbul by Orhan Pamuk. It's a bit after the Ottoman Empire, but I'm glad you're enjoying it. The Empire of Lies. No Goodreads target. I think I'd like to read 100. Okay. How many did you read last year, Elizabeth? Okay, I'm glad you can hear and see me okay. Library Thing. I don't know Library Thing. I've heard about Storygraph. Do you have a target for the number of books you want to read? 143, including many short ones. Yes. I think my shortest one last year was 16 pages. The Princess and the Pea by Diane Setterfield, a retelling of Hans Christian Andersen's Princess and the Pea. But I also had Bleak House, which was over 1,000 pages. So I think the average is about 290 pages for the books I read last year. I was 79 is the most I've ever read in a single calendar year. But as I keep telling myself, reading is not a competitive sport. Children's picture books are good for adding up the numbers. If you're falling behind on your targets and it bothers you, you can always read a few children's books to catch up, or short stories, although it might be considered cheating. No competition. Yeah. There's being on things like BookTube and Goodreads that makes reading sometimes feel competitive. I don't have the chat on slow mode, but thank you for the tip. I haven't had any spam yet. Hopefully, well, yes, as I say, I'm just trying this medium out, this live stream, to see how it works. So the slow mode 10 to 15 second delay, that's a good idea. A bunch of plays, yes. Plays are generally outside my comfort zone. I did read one Shakespeare play last year, A Midsummer Night's Dream. In school, we had to read a lot of plays, and I didn't get on very well. I do have some plays by Plautus on my TBR this month. This again is taking me out of my comfort zone. Not only is it before 1800, but it's also 6 plays. A Pot of Gold and another 6 plays. So, yeah, plays would be good to boost counts, yes. And if I count these 6 plays as 6 individual plays and read through them quickly, that would really boost my count. Has anybody read Plautus? Do you have a favorite playwright? Yeah. I remember Death of a Salesman as well. I hated that because I had to read it. Okay. It was interesting, Greg, when you put up that comment, that it gave me a chance to show it or hide it, probably because it saw the word sex. No, I've never read Plautus, but I have this for my January TBR. I've never read any Greek plays. Chekhov, I've read some of his short stories. I also saw a performance of The Cherry Orchard, which was interesting. But this was when I was in college, and my roommate was playing Lepihodov in The Cherry Orchard. He was a drama student, which is why I went to see The Cherry Orchard. Is anyone else reading Dangerous Liaison apart from Elizabeth and myself? I wasn't aware of a Georgian uprising on Texel Island, 1945. I don't even know where Texel Island is. I've only ever seen one ballet. I saw Romeo and Juliet here as a ballet. So I could tick off, I've seen a ballet. It's not really my thing, ballets. I'm quite uncultural when it comes to ballet and opera and theatre. I like going to art exhibitions, I like art and painting, but ballets and opera aren't really my jam. Georgia is quite famous for its traditional dancing, and their dance troupes go around the world. Okay, letter 16. I'm on letter 23. There's an interesting game played by the two libertines, and I think everybody's going to end up getting hurt. And there's some humour as well, but I don't usually read anything before 1800, apart from maybe Shakespeare and the Bible. I wonder if the humour comes across better in French than in the English translation. Sometimes humour is very difficult to translate. There's the funny scene in the first letter. It's a Dutch island. Texel. Something else. You are educating me, Williams Library. Texel Uprising. Texel Island, Georgian Uprising. How far are you from Washington, D.C., Greg? I imagine there's a few exhibitions there. Yeah, I imagine there's a lot of social context lost. Even reading 19th century books, we miss a lot of things that were would be familiar with that 19th century readers. And also Dickens' books were released in serial form, so it would have taken them 19 months to read something like Bleak House. So my reading of Bleak House over 2 months doesn't seem so bad compared to my Victorian counterparts. Yes. Charles Dickens, I'm hoping to read all of Charles Dickens' oeuvre sometime. I've got 4 novels left of the ones he wrote. I haven't read Nicholas Nickleby, Barnaby Rudge, Martin Chuzzlewit, or the unfinished one, the Edwin Drood, Mystery of Edwin Drood. An hour and a half to drive to an exhibition. It's a long way for an art exhibition. Here in Tbilisi, we get local Georgian artists exhibiting. We don't get many famous European artists or American artists. Sometimes we get contemporary European or American artists. And good luck with Dostoevsky. I read The Idiot. I like The Idiot. I wasn't so taken with Crime and Punishment. For me, I found it quite boring, and that's, for many, it's one of his greatest works. I think I prefer Tolstoy. I read Anna Karenina 2 years ago, I think. Yeah, since the pandemic, I haven't been going to any art galleries or theatres or cinemas even. It's trying to get back into the swing of things now. The pandemic is mostly over, although there's some new waves in China and Korea that might be worrying. When I visit Paris, I visit the art galleries, the Louvre and Musée d'Orsay, and also the Orangerie. And when I was in New York, I visited the Metropolitan, and I visited the Art Institute of Chicago when I was in Chicago. I like looking at art. I particularly like Renoir and Rembrandt, and also Edward Hopper. Good morning, Max. For me, this is evening. It's 8:30 p.m. here in Tbilisi, Georgia. Do you have any questions? Or what are you reading at the moment? art? Do you have a favorite art gallery? I like the National Gallery in London. They have Rembrandt's picture of Saskia bathing. They have Da Vinci's Madonna on the Rocks. They have Renoir's umbrellas, and they have a lot. Helene Sabé, Claudia Piñar. Prince Harry's upcoming book. Yes, we can talk about Prince Harry. I'm seeing a lot of gossip on Twitter about Prince Harry's upcoming book, Spare. There seems to be three camps. There seems to be the camp that's pro the royals and against Harry and Meghan. There's the camp for Harry and Meghan. And there's the camp that want to get rid of the whole royal family and have UK as a republic. So there's these three opposing camps. I think now the Queen is dead, it might be time to get rid of the royal family, but I don't know what you think. Does anybody have any thoughts on Prince Harry's book? It's interesting. I looked on Goodreads, the review, the ratings of Prince Harry's book. They were either, there's about 50% 5-star and about 50% 1-star, and there's nothing in between. These are from people who haven't read it, because some journalists have read it because it's already been released in Spanish, but the English version comes out on the 10th. So it's not what they thought of the book itself, it's their opinions of Harry himself. Yes, but if you look at the ratings on Goodreads, it's almost all either 5-star or 1-star. But this was the same when Hillary Clinton's autobiography came out. It was all 5-star or 1-star, depending on which side of the political fence you were. It wasn't a rating based on the quality of the book. Yeah, I think royalty is should be in the past. It's the idea that you're born to some title and that you're somehow better than somebody else because of the family you're born into. It's poor Harry. Harry and Meghan both have issues with mental health, and being in the royal family can be quite toxic for anybody. It was difficult for Harry's mother, Diana, and it's been difficult for Meghan in the royal family. And from the book, it sounds like it was difficult for Harry as well. So, yes. My formative years, I was growing up within sight of Windsor Castle. One of the first schools I went to was called Castle View. It was in Slough, 2 miles from Windsor. Yeah, so I've got no intention of reading Harry's book either. I'm not interested in reading any recent books about the royals. I liked Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel about the Tudors, about Thomas Cromwell and about Henry VIII. I think after the Tudors, I'm not interested in reading about the royal family. Maybe for Garb August. Yeah, maybe. What's the feeling in Canada towards the royal family? Canada being part of the Commonwealth. Yeah, in the UK, the tabloids are very much against Harry and Meghan and all this Megxit, but they have their own agenda, the tabloids. It'll be interesting to see how King Charles's coronation is received. I think it's in May. I haven't been invited. I haven't been to England since 2016 when they voted to leave Europe. No. Has anybody been invited to the coronation here? Apparently Charles wants a lot of pomp and circumstance for the coronation. What other books are coming out this year that are exciting you? I know there's a sequel to Lee Bardugo's Ninth House is due out soon. And Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang comes out in May, which could be interesting. Yeah. Leave religion out of government. Yes. But in England, the monarch is the head of the church. The head of the Church of England is the reigning monarch. Here in Georgia, the Georgian Orthodox Church has a lot of power in who becomes president, who comes into parliament. They have a lot more power than other religious entities here. And the most respected Georgian is Ilya II, the Patriarch of the Georgian Church. So we're not quite a theocracy like Iran, but the church does have a lot of power here. Which author have you read the most books by? 1984 retelling, that could be interesting. Julia was the main female character in 1984. So, yeah, it's a long time since I read 1984, but it's a book that will stick with me forever. Last year, Georgette Heyer, Agatha Christie. Yeah, last year I didn't read more than 2 books by any author. I read 2 books by Rebecca Roanhorse, 2 books by Louis L'Amour. But I think I've read the most by Dick Francis, who wrote crime books set in the horse racing world, because my first wife was really into horses and she had a lot of these books, and I read over 20 of them. But after a while, they got very samey. Now I prefer to read different authors each time. Although, as I said, I'm reading Charles Dickens' oeuvre slowly. I've read 10 of his novels now. When I lived in France, I read a lot of Agatha Christie in French because I wanted books which had a good story, so it was easy to follow. Okay, bye, Greg. Thanks for dropping in. Maybe I'll do another one sometime if people want that, if people are interested. I just thought I'd try it and see what happened. Yeah. I'm like you, Elizabeth. I used to binge on authors like Stephen King and Isaac Asimov and Arthur C. Clarke, but now I prefer to read a lot of different authors. Okay. If people have to go, maybe it's time to wrap this up. It's been on for 45 minutes. Does anybody have any other questions? Anything they want to discuss? Hey, Scully. Welcome. I was just talking about wrapping it up. If anybody doesn't know Scully's channel, it's worth checking out. It's very creative. And if you like ASMR, it's very good. Scully's written a couple of books. I read one of them, The Dutch Coffee House, which was about gangsters in the south of the Netherlands. Yeah, you caught me. This is an experiment for me, trying out a live stream. I'm glad so many of you caught me. Now I just have, if this count as true, it's just 2 people, but that's fine. I was asking, which author have you read the most books by? Oh, it's no problem. I've actually read quite a few books by different booktubers. Robert Ludlum. I haven't read any Robert Ludlum, but I have heard of Robert Ludlum. He wrote many thrillers, I believe. "1984. Well, William says there's going to be a retelling of 1984 and a new book coming out, Julia by Sandra Newman. So, yes, Big Brother is watching us. And the Newspeak. If you haven't got a word for something, you can't think it. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions? Thank you for dropping by. It was good to see your questions, to chat, and you can let me know if you want me to do any more live streams. Okay, so it's goodbye from me. Bye now. Thank you.